Now, today I am discussing about the 5 defined questions on group 15 elements. So, through these questions we can clear the concept of group 15 elements, not on their compounds, but the elementary properties we have discussed already. Now the first question is, why bismuth plus 5 is a strong oxidant? Why bismuth plus 5 is a strong oxidant? We know that the configuration of bismuth, the electronic configuration of bismuth is xenon core 4F14 5D10 6S2 and 6P3. So, to show the pentavalency or plus 5 oxidation state, one electron from 6s has to jump from 6s to 6d. But there is a very large energy gap between 6s, 6p and 6d, because in between 6s and 6p there are field 4F14 and field 5D10 configuration. So when an electron jumps from 6s to 6d, it requires very large amount of energy to form 5 unpaired electrons in its valence shell. So the 6s2 remains paired, and that's why the two electrons of 6s remains paired. It has no tendency to become unpaired to show the 5 unpaired electrons in its valence shell. That's why this pair of electron is called, this pair of electron of 6s is called inert pair. Inert pair. What is the basic difference between the inert pair and lone pair? We know that if the valence shell is in high energy level, that means n is greater than 3, then it is called inert pair. But if the valence shell is in low energy level, then that pair of electrons in the valence shell is called lone pair, which can take part in the chemical bonding as well as in hybridization, but inert pair doesn't take part in the hybridization. So the two electrons in the 6s level remains in paired condition. Therefore, it contains only 3 unpaired electrons in its valence shell. So bismuth plus 5 becomes unstable and it readily reduces to bismuth plus 3. As this process is reduction, so it is a very strong oxidant. Because bismuth plus 5 is an unstable species due to the inert pair effect of bismuth, and that's why it readily reduces to bismuth plus 3. It itself gets reduced and hence it can act as a strong oxidant, and that's why bismuth plus 5, just like sodium bismuthate NaBiO3, it is a very strong oxidant and as used as a laboratory reagent as a strong oxidant. Now the question number 2. So we have completed the discussion about the first question. Now the question number 2. Question number 2 is, why the catenation property of nitrogen atom is less than phosphorus atom? Now, the catenation property, we know that catenation property is nothing but the long chain forming ability. And already we have seen that carbon has the highest tendency to catenate. Now, nitrogen, N single bond N, the bond energy is near about 161 kilojoule per mole, but that of P single bond P is near about 201 kilojoule per mole. Why? The bond energy of N single bond N is less than that of P single bond P. We know that smaller the size of the atom, higher will be the overlapping region, and hence bond energy will be higher. So N single bond N should have higher bond energy than that of P single bond P. But here we have seen that opposite result occurs. Why? Because we know that due to the smaller size of nitrogen atom, the lone pair over the nitrogen, after the formation of single bond between two nitrogen atoms, the lone pair over the nitrogen atom come closer to each other due to the small size of the nitrogen atom. So the non-bonding electron pair repulsion occurs here, and this non-bonding electronic repulsion also occurs in case of phosphorus. But in case of nitrogen, due to its smaller size, the non-bonding electronic repulsion is maximum and more as compared to the P single bond P. Therefore, due to this non-bonding electron pair repulsion, the bond strength decreases, and that's why the catenation property of nitrogen is less than that of phosphorus. We know that the compound HN3 in which the nitrogen shows its catenation property, this is the only compound in which nitrogen shows its catenation property. But we know that P4, in this compound, phosphorus is attached to it. One single phosphorus atom is attached with three other phosphorus atoms. So the catenation property of phosphorus, that's why, is more than that of nitrogen in. Clear? So we have discussed here the question number 2. Now the question number 3. Question number 3 is why nitrogen is a gas but P4 is a solid. We know that nitrogen is a gaseous substance but phosphorus is a solid, because in nitrogen can form p-pi bond. p-pi bond. Why? Because nitrogen is a small sized atom, the topmost element of group 15. Therefore, it can form p-pi bond. Pi bond requires small sized atom for which the overlapping region will be maximum, and hence sidewise overlap will be maximum. Hence, it increases the pi bond strength. So, in nitrogen molecule, as it can form p-pi bond, so N triple bond N occurs. N triple bond N occurs. But in case of phosphorus, due to its larger size, it cannot form such type of p-pi bond. Rather, it forms d-pi bond with d-pi bond. Phosphorus forms d-pi bond with lone pair containing species such as oxygen atom in POCl3, but it cannot form such type of pi bond with itself, and that's why it cannot fulfill its valency. Here you can see that nitrogen can fulfill its valency in between two atoms because it shows its trivalency. So N triple bond N, in N triple bond N, nitrogen fulfills its valency, but P triple bond P cannot form because PP2, phosphorus, cannot form such type of pi bond. So to fulfill its valency, phosphorus has to join with three different phosphorus atoms through sigma bond and shows a such type of pyramidal structure, and that's why its molecular weight gets increased. We know that the molecular weight of phosphorus is 31 into 4, that means 124. This is 124, this is the molecular weight. But That of nitrogen is only 28. With the increase of the molecular weight, intermolecular force of attraction increases. Hence, phosphorus becomes solid, but nitrogen is liquid, gaseous in at room temperature. Now, we are coming to discuss about the question number 4. What is the question number 4? Why nitrogen has no basic property though it contains two lone pairs? That means the structure of nitrogen is N triple bond N and it contains a lone pair of each atom, because we know that nitrogen has 5 electrons in its valence shell. So each and every nitrogen atom has a lone pair over it. We know that in ammonia as nitrogen atom contains a lone pair over in ammonia, so it is basic in nature as it can donate its lone pair. So nitrogen, in nitrogen molecule, as each nitrogen atom has a lone pair, that means overall nitrogen molecule has two lone pairs over it, but it has no basic property. Why? Why is this difference? This is due to the hybridization state of the central atom. Here the central atom is nitrogen, which is sp3 hybridized, and this sp3 hybridized nitrogen atom, so the lone pair occupies 25% S character, 25% S character. But in this nitrogen molecule N2, each nitrogen atom is sp hybridized. So the lone pair occupies 50% S character, 50% S character. With the increase of the S character, we know that S orbital is the nearest towards the nucleus. So with the increase of the S character over the lone pair, it has more tendency to reside towards the nucleus, nearer to the nucleus, and hence this lone pair cannot be donated. So according to Lewis theory, we know that the system not only contains lone pair, it has a tendency to donate its lone pair. But here, though the nitrogen molecule contains two lone pairs, but it has no tendency to donate its lone pair to the other substance, and that's why nitrogen is not a basic substance. We know that nitrogen, in nitrogen molecule N triple bond N, it has a very high bond energy, near about 341 kilojoule per mole, and that's why N2 is chemically very much less reactive as compared to the other elements. So in atmosphere, nitrogen occurs near about 79%. That's why nitrogen is very much low reactive, shows low reactivity towards the other substance. Actually, to break this bond requires very high amount of energy, near about 2000 degrees centigrade temperature requires to break this linkage. So nitrogen remains inert in atmosphere, and hence it exists near about 79% in the atmosphere. Now we come to explain the question number 5. What is the question number 5? White phosphorus is highly reactive in nature. Explain. Now white phosphorus, the structure of white phosphorus is like this. Already we have drawn this structure. So this is the structure of white phosphorus, in which each and every phosphorus atom is attached with 3 different phosphorus atoms, and also each phosphorus contains a lone pair over it. Now we know that, see, this phase of the triangle of this trapezium, it is a pyramid. Suppose we consider this phase of the pyramid. This is an equatorial triangle, equilateral triangle, lateral triangle. So the bond angle of an equilateral triangle must be equal to 60 degrees. But here each and every phosphorus atom is attached with 3 phosphorus atom and contains a lone pair. So the hybridization state of phosphorus must be sp3. Therefore the lone pair contains 25% S character. 25% S character. Now the sp3 hybridized orbitals, due to the presence of sp3 hybridized orbital, this bond angle should be approx 109 degree 28 minutes, should be. but actually it is equal to 60 degree. So it is highly strenuous and it suffers angle strain. So to minimize this angle strain, it shows its highest reactivity because at room temperature, near about 30 degree centigrade temperature, it combines with oxygen to form P2O3, and at about some 35 degree centigrade in presence of excess oxygen, it forms P2O5. So during the formation of P2O3 and P2O5, rather actually P2O5, it glows, which is called the phosphorescence. So that's why P4, that means white phosphorus, is highly reactive in nature due to the presence of angle strain into it. And that's why we can complete all these 5 questions. Probably by explaining all these 5 questions, we can clear the concept of some elements of group 15 like nitrogen, phosphorus, and also these help you to explain, to increase the concept to increase the concept of other elements of this group like for arsenic, antimony, as well as bismuth. So thank you. I think that these 5 questions will help you a lot to grow the concept about the elements of group 15.